Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, no, this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Yeah. There's no mercy in this world, just hunger-thirsty persons in different versions. Each new update, that shit worsens. Why? Pull back the curtain and you'll see the different vermin. We all have different burdens that all seem to cause disturbance. Yo, do me a favor, don't treat me like a neighbor. Don't need the different flavors.
And what is going on, everybody? So, welcome to episode 17 of the Phillies Talk Podcast. Pretty much we'll talk all things Phillies baseball, pretty much, especially with the Phillies season coming up around the corner very soon. But before we get into it, if you guys are new, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, make sure to ring that notification bell so you guys will not miss of the upcoming content to the channel. With that being said, let's jump right into it. So, honestly, I think a lot of those Phillies fans are kind of just excited for the upcoming 2023 season. And a lot of things we have on the docket right now is kind of, talk about like grade the all-season moves and stuff like that, and some other news in particular. But let's not hasten. Let's get to the first one. So we're grading the all-season moves for the fighting Phils. Yeah, it's the all-season moves. We get Turner, Walker, Kimbrel, and stuff like that. I mean, Campbell or definitely Turner was definitely an A plus move in terms of, especially like I said, decline after declined the option for James Segura, who like I mentioned before, if you've seen our previous shows, was getting up there in age, and then and Bryce Stott was going to be the second baseman regardless. Yeah, we got a better shortstop, hit Trey Turner, but which allows Stott, who has played second base once before, move to second base. So that's going to be interesting to see. And then get a guy like Taijuan Walker. It's funny because I know it seems like some of the parts of the Mets fan base kind of laughing at us because of that. Picking up, picking up a guy like, just not say. I mean, that has a bit of an injury history, I would say, but in terms of I mean, look, we picked up Taiwan Walker, even though he's about to entering his age 30 season. But regardless, I think it's still a good move to really help out hit, help that up. But what's good, Lady Kenzie? What is good? What is good? But Turner and stuff like that. Are we entering his age 20? Ready? Let me just update. Here's via SpotTrack.com. So right now, we made some moves that we made so far. Trade Turner, for 11 years, 300 million. So we're going to give him a little bit over 27 million a year. I thought, like I said, that's an A+ move for me in my eyes, the way that I see it. Because Turner, you can pretty much get like a 5-tool athlete out of basically what Trey Turner truly is. But I will say, and then get a guy like Taiwan Walker. Now, a lot of times the Mets fan base at times, kind of laughed at us for giving him a 4-year, 72 mil. But I will say this too: when healthy, the dude's actually pretty good. Dude's a really good pitcher. I think people really tend to forget how good he can be when healthy. That's always the biggest key. I would say for Taiwan Walker. Matt Strom was an interesting pickup because obviously even though we did have some really good arms in the bullpen, but couldn't hurt to add an extra couple. So Matt Strom, 2 years, 15 mil. I'll give him 7.5 a year. It's gonna be fun. So have another extra lefty in the bullpen, and then we pick up Craig Kimbrell on a 1-year, $10 million deal. In some cases, the fact of the matter, we might not use him as a closer, even though we might do closer by committee. But most of the time, if Dominguez, because pretty much Seranthony Dominguez is pretty much our main guy. But there's a couple times, if you like burn him out too much, it's a whole different thing. But I will say, oh, good Lord. But yeah, so right now, could potentially see some more moves coming in the future? Possibly. Mostly probably at the trade deadline. We did get some other guys on a minor league deal, but not really big names on minor league deals, so kind of really not talk about that as much. But like I said, the trade Turner was an A+ move. I want to give this Taiwan Walker a solid, give it a solid B because of health reasons. That's just that's just how I've seen Walker throughout his career from many different teams, not just from the Mets, but even times from the Diamondbacks and definitely from the Seattle Mariners at times. But like I said, when Walker is fully healthy, there's a lot of good value you can get out of as a number 3 or number 4 in most rotations. So he's going to be a solid number 4. But then number 5 spot, I think there's a lot of times people are kind of speculating like who's going to be the number 5. And if there's been talks of Andrew Painter could be the next one coming up, which not making the opening day roster, but I think he'd be like a late season call up, probably around May or June in that time frame. Because Painter overall is the number 6 prospect in baseball, but probably number 1 in our organization. It's just I think the Phillies got on their hands, and it's always been the biggest not say biggest concern, but just something that's kind of bugged away from us was a bit of a back into the rotation kind of starter. But in the end, we're definitely might use our homegrown talent to do so. But like I said, the other potential moves, we don't know exactly for sure until like I said, when the season comes, and who can the Phillies get at the trade deadline? It's a whole different thing in its entirety. But like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see some of these new guys coming in. Like I said, with Trey Turner wearing the Phillies pinstripes, Taiwan Walker, Matt Strom, Craig Kimbrell. Especially go back to what I said, going back to Trey Turner a little bit. Yeah, for those who have not kind of really read about why Trey Turner chose the Phils, is because the fact that he has a lot of ties here on the East Coast. His wife is here from Jersey, and stuff like that. I mean, just has a lot of ties here on the East Coast, and the fact that the Padres, who originally drafted Turner, tried to offer him a lot more money, but not turned that down, and thought to just take the 11 years, 300 million to stay with Philadelphia. So that's kind of interesting to really hear about that. But I think with Taijuan Walker, though, like I say, going back to what I said with Taijuan Walker, I won't say he's injury prone, but he does have these sometimes, he has these unexpected injuries that people really never. But yeah, happy birthday, Lady Kenzie. Happy birthday. Well, like I said, with Taijuan Walker, like I said, you're gonna get you can at least get, if you can stay healthy for 5 full seasons, I think that's, or we're actually up to 34 actually. But I mean, if you can get some really good production out of those 4 years, I think that's a really good investment for Taijuan Walker. Yeah, I mean, the dude's got some good stuff. I mean, the dude's got some really good stuff. Because I think if you can get a guy that's a solid number 4, because I mean, you really look at the kind of how rotation is looking like. It's definitely Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Walker, potentially Painter. We don't know exactly for sure who the number 5 is going to be, but I've been seeing this projected to be Bailey Falter. I really don't think it's going to be Bailey Falter. I really hope it's going to be one of our homegrown guys. But unfortunately, like I said, it's going to have to be like a late season call, but like I said, between the May and June kind of time frame. But that's here nor there. Another thing, that's been kind of been, I won't say really going on through, is that Jose Alvarado and Sir Anthony Dominguez were unable to come to terms to avoid arbitration. Now, which is funny because I've seen, do I think there's a reason to panic because of the fact that these guys can't come to terms to avoid arbitration? No, I don't think that's the case. I think they're definitely going to be back. I think the Phillies are going to find a way to help these guys, and try to avoid arbitration as best as they can. And definitely will get some, and stuff like that as well. So we're going to wait and see how that goes. But I do think they're going to stay. There's no really reason to panic. Just because, like they can't even cut. It's funny, kind of to divert that a little bit, is that I've seen players, not just from the Phillies side, but I've seen players who, want to file more what their market value is worth, for trying to avoid arbitration. Yeah, it happens a lot, and they a lot of teams somehow manage to get it done. Knowing the Phillies and how much they spent money, absolutely, I think they're definitely going to stay. That is for sure. So there's no, those Phillies fans out there don't really need to panic. I would say, just try not to really panic as much as you can, but obviously not just panic or just panic at all. And it's like, I sometimes I think if you not really watch the game and sometimes don't know how the game works sometimes, and it's like people just don't really understand just how arbitration works. And at times for me, sometimes I don't know either. Sometimes, but what I do know is that there's like I said, there's no reason to panic if these guys can't come to terms of what the Phillies offer them. They will think especially the seasons that they had, could fight a lot more. So we'll see how that arbitration hearing goes. Like I said, they're definitely going to get it done. What's good, BLSG? What is good? What is good? And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's really nothing much to panic. But I will say, just keep that in mind. I'll say just keep that in mind. But next thing on the docket, before we go any further, this show is sponsored by SeatGeek. Here we go. Have you thought about saving money on tickets, whether it's sporting events, concerts, wrestling events, etc.? Use my promo code PhillySports at checkout to save $20 off your order. That is PhillySports, Philly Sports, to save $20 off. Absolutely. If anyone wants to save money on tickets, make sure you use my promo code PhillySports at SeatGeek and use it at checkout to save $20 off, because, how some of these ticket sites you want to add fees on that. So that eliminates all fees. So you guys want to check that out, use my promo code that is in the description down below. And check out our Fanatics link as well. We are officially partnered with Fanatics as well to get all your authentic gear and stuff like that. And all that good stuff. So with that being said, next thing I want to kind of talk about is Dave Dombrowski discuss that Gregory Soto trade. Now, a lot of times, the fact that, a lot of, especially when the Phillies traded for Gregory Soto, and, for those who have not really watched Gregory Soto pitch for the Tigers, I mean, the dude is just complete disgusting. Get another hard throwing lefty. Definitely could really use who doesn't need them and need hard throwing lefties nowadays. But besides that, I would think, the fact that, how this can be, even though Cody Clemens was part of that deal, even though he may not be the prettiest bench piece, but if it somehow can definitely be decent enough to have on the bench, I'm okay with that. And the Tigers fans too that are feeling, that Gregory Soto's, some Tigers fans are just sometimes are out of their goddamn mind sometimes. Not part of it, but I think I do want to call a portion of the fan base that say, Gregory Soto stinks and whatnot, or whatever the case may be. It's funny. People, they want to rely on the wins-loss records, but if you really think about it... Oh, okay, hang on. I mean, look, still young, 27 years old. I mean, look, he had a 3.28 ERA and had his second All-Star nod, and yet Tigers fans are just a lot there. I mean, look, had pitched in 64 games, saved 30 games, striking out 60 and 60 on the third innings pitch with a 1.37 whip. Think about that. From last season and the season prior, back-to-back All-Star nods. And it's like, I don't know. Like, sometimes Tigers fans are just sometimes need to stop relying on looking at. But, we'll see. But they have his... Okay, the projections could be a little bit crazy. But like I said, with the Gregory Soto trade, though, kind of get my thoughts on that is... I mean, yeah, we're definitely getting another bullpen arm, which I've been kind of been talking about. But what's good, Steve? Cheers, Steve. Appreciate you coming in, my dude. But I will say, the trade for Gregory Soto, though, I think I talked about this in like the last couple of episodes me and my buddy Tyler have done. That it couldn't hurt to have another extra bullpen arm. The fact we've gotten 3 so far this past all seasons, 2 through free agency, 1 through trade with the Detroit Tigers. Fortunately, giving up Nick Maton, Matt Vierling, and Donnie Sands. Now, it's fun to the Philly fans that think, because like Matt Vierling was not really going to very much play as much, just of what, especially the outfield talent we had. Donnie Sands definitely was never going to see playing time, especially you had Garrett Stubbs as your backup, and he also had to do behind JT. And Nick Maton's another guy too that has been kind of not going to see any playing time as either. But what's good, everybody? What is good? Appreciate everyone is coming into the stream. But like I said, with some of these guys the Phillies gave up for Cody Clemens and Gregory Soto, they were not going to see any playing time regardless of what people may think. As much as I like Matt Vierling, I thought Matt Vierling was pretty okay. It's just his offensive game just kind of stinks. And, and at times, a lot of teams could use a guy like Matt Vierling sometimes just for defensive purposes. And that's kind of why we had to pull the trigger on that. And like I said, Cody Clemens, like I said, not the prettiest piece for the bench. But speaking with my other co-host of the show, yo.
What's up?
Yeah, not much, man. Just kind of breaking down some old Phillies news a little bit because it is almost that time of year. I mean, hence the good looking background right there.
It is, man.
But yeah. So far, I want to try to give your thoughts on the all season moves that the Phillies have made. Getting Turner, Walker, Matt Strom, and Craig Kimbrell so far, and up to and also getting Gregor Soda in the trade for Detroit.
I don't know why people were saying that the bullpen is still going to be iffy. I really don't, because we've bolstered that big time with those moves, getting Strom from Boston and the other moves that we made. And plus, we bolstered the lineup with getting Turner.
Exactly.
So we're gonna be better for sure.
And that's it. And it's funny because I've actually watched Matt Strom a little bit. Even though he's very funky, I will say that the dude's a funky left-hander. But the fact that we really didn't have much, and that's the thing too. Like the bullpen though, and for those who have seen our show and how many times me and Tyler, oh boy, we can count. Me and Tyler can count the many times we rented on this damn bullpen of how garbage it was the last 3 years, 4 years.
Not really, because last year they were pretty good.
Well, outside of 2021 and 2022.
Well, 2021 we were bad. 2021 we were bad because we still bottomed out because of the bad bullpen.
Right.
But 2022 we finally cleaned that up. We made the playoffs, made the World Series last year,
which is crazy.
Which was crazy in itself because we were a wild card team. But the bullpen's finally getting shored up even more. Starting pitching's pretty. I don't know. Like we're missing a fifth starter.
And from then that's kind of what I was talking about. It could be Andrew Painter, who could be the fifth guy.
But is he ready? Though?
It might be a late season call up between late May to early June. Is from what I've.
But still, he's not going to be ready because he's not been in the minor leagues that long.
But right now, looking at Fangraphs, they have it projected as Bailey Falter as our fifth guy in the rotation.
Oh, there goes our season. Or our World Series hopes, because if Andrew Painter's starting in the playoffs, we're screwed.
But looking at the bullpen,
not Andrew Painter, Bailey Falter.
But we'll see how that goes, because he did Andrew Painter and some of our highest pitching prospects did get invites to Major League Spring Training. So it's most likely
it depends on how they look at spring training. But the problem with that is a lot of these teams are only playing minor leaguers. So that's pretty much it with that.
So because like I said, look at the top four. You have Nola, Wheeler, Walker, and Suarez. Honestly, I would flip. I think Nola should be number 2. I would put Wheeler 1, Nola 2. But I can't disagree with that. Looking at the bullpen, though, you got Nick Nelson as your long reliever, your 3 mid relievers. You got Connor Brogdon, Matt Strom, Andrew Bellotti. Even though I do have mixed emotions with Bellotti, but when he's on, he's just completely good.
No, Bellotti's been good. Bellotti's been good. He just choked in the playoffs. That's all that happened.
And a couple other relievers, but we don't want to remain closer. It's Dominguez. We got Alvarado, Kimber, and Gregory Soto. That is our bullpen projections right now. It's especially having Gregory Soto for the next 3 seasons under control, and having an Alvarado 2 hard throwing lefties with disgusting stuff. That's kind of unfair.
And Alvarado cleaning up his wildness, so to speak. Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's
that bullpen's gonna be unstoppable. I'm telling you that right now. That bullpen's gonna be boy.
But then again, knowing Dombrowski, who knows what other moves he might have up his sleeve that we don't know about. The dude, it's just like so far in his very short tenure with the Phillies. Talk about doing a lot of amazing things for this franchise. Who, let's be real.
We were deprived of what happened last year for 10 plus years. 10 plus years.
10 plus years of nothing but it was just crazy enough.
We went from mediocre to bad to mediocre again to mediocre again 10 years later to good. It's like
It's yeah. But the Phillies did make some made some moves to avoid arbitration with some players. Unfortunately, Hoskins is one of them. But like I said, and it's funny because I wanted to want to talk about this a little bit. People are overreacting because, first of all, arbitration, like it's one of those things. It's like it's really you can't really. Well, you're definitely going to have a hearing of, and um, only give like a 1 year, 12 million to avoid arbitration, but that really doesn't really mean as much as people would think. In the end, though,
People were just complaining, "Oh, he's here for another year. He's gonna suck for another year. It's gonna
like
hurt us this year." Like,
but if he does,
dude,
if he's like,
he's
in most,
this is basically his arbitration year. It's
but
basically a prove it year. This is basically a prove it year
yeah,
for
because the
him.
next
For
season,
Hot.
because this is his last year as a Phil, because he's one of our longest
Yeah,
tenured.
exactly. And this is basically what like a Jalen Hurts got this year. This is a prove it year for him.
Absolutely.
This is a prove it year for Hoskins. Can he play better defense? If he can't, and if he can't hit,
We
they're gone.
exactly. And obviously, they also did it with the Mundo Sosa. Even though, like I said, Mundo Sosa may not be the prettiest in terms of offensively, but he does have those moments where he's a very valuable bench piece.
Gosa honestly hasn't been solid from the bench. He's been solid from the bench.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the fact that it's fun. Like it's like going back to what we said about Dombrowski. The fact he took chances on guys that were given up way too soon, and
Dude, look at Brandon Marsh. He was like batting like 200.
yeah,
Comes here, bats 300 for like the
yeah,
rest of the season.
it's like and it's crazy. It just now the bat I think could be a little bit more improved for Brandon Marsh, but I mean we knew that the defense is there with Brandon Marsh. That's for sure.
Listen, he's fixed his approach. He fixed what he had to do. He batted 300. There's not much he can to improve the bat, to be honest with you.
True, but
so
and Gregory Soto.
so there's not much that he has to fix.
So Gregory Soto and Suarez were the other two to avoid arbitration, and the fact that we have Gregory Soto for the next 3 seasons under team control. So, thank you, Detroit. And the fact that, and it's funny because it's
What up?
what up, Ron? That I've talked about just how sometimes the Tigers fan, but it's funny because the Tigers fan base at times is kind of funny. Sometimes the fact that it's that Gregory Soto is a heart attack waiting to happen. First of all, the dude's a 2-time All-Star last season in 2021, had a sub 3.5 ERA in those 2 seasons, in those 2 All-Star seasons, and had like 30 plus saves. It's like, so you're telling me the dude I talking about being very unappreciated.
Now I believe more so Mets fans when they were talking about Familia. Don't trust Familia. Don't trust Familia.
And
I believe Mets fans more so now because I looked at his stats. Because I looked at his stats when I got Mets fans saying don't trust Familia, don't trust Familia. Looked at his stats. He wasn't good.
He's
at all
inconsistent. That's what it is.
He wasn't inconsistent. He was
also too. But at least the Diamondbacks can deal with him. So
we're good, brother. We're good.
We good. But yeah, it's like talk about because this is basically somehow these moves that Dombrowski is doing is kind of making it seem and say we're good. We're going to get back there. But it's just like I say, with Dominguez and Alvaro couldn't come to terms. But it's like, I said this too. Like there's really no reason.
Yeah, seriously, we don't need him. We really go route him. We don't want him.
Oh, he can rob.
We don't need it. The heck with needing him. We don't want him.
Well, first of all, now actually Arizona picked him up on a minor league deal. So,
dude, I you know what I did when I saw that news? I just pointed and laughed, like you idiots.
Actually, well, not just the Diamondbacks. How about Boston? Boston deserved to get laughed at because of that.
Boston picked him up like when we basically fooled him because we traded him to Boston easily for nothing.
But when it comes to looking at our bench so far, they have Garrett. We're going to have Guthrie, Cody Clemens, Sosa, and Garrett Stubbs as our bench pieces.
But so that's actually is an interesting question. What about the Yankees? And he just said the Yankees are the Cowboys of baseball.
I mean, Arku's not wrong. I
No,
mean,
he's not. He's not.
because if
They
you
can make
looked
the
at it,
playoffs, but they always choke within in the crucial moments.
but
Always choke in the crucial moments.
that'll be another story for another day. But looking at, because knowing that we do know who we're. Unfortunately, we had to open up on the road for three. Actually, wait a minute. Let me look at the. Yeah, exactly, Arku. Exactly. That's kind of what the Yankees are. They just always somehow. It all comes down to offense. Can their offense hold up in the playoffs? Now, a lot. I mean, it's not just and like at us, like we're getting pitching depth, which killed us in the World Series because of pitching depth. We never really had that, and looking at how this team's look kind of not just getting, I mean, I definitely get retooled in some areas, definitely for sure. Adding more, actually three bullpen arms. Look, I thought one was actually for me. I thought one was going to be good enough, but the fact we added three and then an extra starter, I'm okay with that. Like, I mean,
See, I'm okay with that too because that adds depth to the pitching, which, like you said, we needed bad because we didn't have the pitching depth
because
in
the
that World
only,
Series.
yeah,
How we made the World Series without pitching depth is amazing.
it really was. It's
Because
like,
I knew going into the playoffs we barely had any pitching depth. I knew
yeah,
going in, and I knew going into the batting can be inconsistent. Like we've known that going in because all
oh
year
yeah,
that the batting had been inconsistent. One day they're good, one day they're blanked.
it's like there's like no middle ground, so to speak.
Yeah, there's no middle ground. It's like one day they're good, one day they're bad, one day they're good, one day they're bad. Luckily they were good more than they were bad, but
we do have some of these stretches where, especially if you're a Kyle Schwarber in the month of June, just going off on a home run, hitting spree. It's like, what the hell is this going on right now?
that man
Dude
was hitting
said,
bombs left and right in June. I swear, it was like a Nuke City in Philly
it really was,
for like a month.
and it's funny too. Like I said, nowadays, like people don't give a really a rat's ass about batting average. Still, the fact that he hit under 220, but the fact that he's had almost 50 home runs, over 100 RBIs, and that seems kind of that one in his first year with the Fighting Phils. Still, it was a good season for me, regardless. But unfortunately, we do open up on the road. Fuck, against the Texas Rangers. It's most likely we might see DeGrom. And this is I always make this joke a lot of times too that the two pitchers we cannot get away from is Justin Verlander and Jacob DeGrom. Now we're going to have to see him in the probably opening day, and now we're going to have to see DeGrom later down the road. It's like fuck, like can we not get away from us? But that was just kind of a bit of a joke. But so far,
Then
though,
again, DeGrom might be hurt.
well, let's see.
Generally speaking.
But oh man, we do have. So we open up this season on a 6-game road trip, 3 in Texas and 3 in the Bronx. Then we don't come home to April 6th for our home opener against a 3-game series against the Reds. Technically, we have a 6-game homestand: 3 against the Reds, 3 against the Marlins. They actually play the White Sox this year, and we're home against the Rockies. Now, the Mariners is going to be very interesting. We'll say that.
Now that first homestand, we should be able to go 6-0.
Because we know, yeah. And the fact that even the Marlins did trade Pablo Lopez to the Minnesota Twins, so we're going to see, so that's going to be see how that rotation is going to be looking like for the Marlins. Say, that's different besides the point. But look at the schedule overview. I mean, should go at least 6-0 on the homestand. But after that, we're on we're back on the road for 7 games, 4 against the Reds. In Cincinnati, which we could sweep the Cincinnati Reds because we actually know where that team stands in that weak ass division. Whoa. If you looked at last year, how you started off, what was it, like 3-15 or something like that? It's like
it was like 3-20. I think it was 3-20 something.
That's like, how bad do you have to start off that way? It's just like,
holy crap! How do you start?
First of all, the Cincinnati fans do not deserve what that team's giving them. But then again, that's a small market team in Cincinnati, so that's kind of hard to really understand that. But the White Sox, though, we auction out. I want to see that.
It is hard to understand because they're in Cincinnati. That's a huge city.
Yeah.
Why are they small market if they're in a huge city like that? Now
I
I can
mean,
see Oakland because that's a fairly small city,
well, that they could be moving to Vegas. Could
and
be
they can move
possible.
to Vegas. So that means they could become a big market team in the
Yep.
future.
But yeah, like I said, that's gonna be another story for another day because that's gonna be very interesting to watch out in baseball. But look at the Phillies' schedule so far. Like I said, I think we can definitely go 4-0 to start off the road trip against the Reds because the Reds. I mean, the fact that Joey Votto's still there. I mean, God bless him, man. But that dude just has to get. We've been talking about this too on the Between the Lines that Votto needs to get out of Cincinnati. That team's not really doing that much for him. That's just me. But then we go to Chicago to take on the White Sox for 3 games. It's I don't know about the White Sox. The White Sox, especially with the new manager and just how everything is going on, so that remains to be seen. But I do think we can go 5-2 on that part of that road. Because if you have Dylan Cease's been been a very good workhorse for the White Sox, but outside of that, maybe 6-1, maybe, because outside of Dylan Cease, who do you have that's actually consistent? That's the biggest question with the White Sox. Now, the Rockies, I think we can definitely sweep the Rockies at home because we do have a 4-game set against them. Then have an off day, but then we play the Mariners, and the Mariners is going to be one of our toughest challenges. I
Yeah,
would say.
I feel like we'll split with them.
He had a 3-game set, so
Yeah, we'll split. Not even split. We'll probably take a game.
I
Maybe.
think because look at the talent that Seattle has, especially not just the rotation. You got the bullpen has been very solid for them, and J. Rod, though, good lord, that kid's going to be something special. It's special for them. And we got a World Series matchup following that in Houston. We're back on the road going to Houston for 3
Now
games.
this is a test. If we can beat them at least 2 out of 3, we have a chance. We have a chance when it comes to the playoffs in
And
the
that's
World
just the
Series.
month of April.
And that's just the month of April.
But oh goody! So for the month of May to start off, we have a 3-game set against the Dodgers. Then we have an off day on the 4th. Then we're home for 3 against the shitty Boston Red Sox. That's going to be fun to sweep.
Oh, we're sweeping them. We are sweeping them. We are sweeping the Sox.
And then we have another off day on the May 8th. Then we're home for 2 against the Blue Jays. Hopefully we can sweep them. Because good lord, the fact that we came looking last year, we have a hard times beating some other teams. And then we're away in Colorado on the 12th. Technically have a 6-game road trip against the Rockies and the Giants. Now, it depends on what the Giants are looking like. And just, the Rockies, the Rockies are just the Rockies. Sorry, Steve, if you're still in here. Yeah, I'm just not taking any shots, but the Rockies ain't going to be good for quite some time until they find a way to figure out something. The Giants, I don't know how to describe the Giants. It's been, I don't say inconsistent, but just fluke. I think fluky at best, especially, but that's besides the point. And, oh, good lord. Next, we have an off day. The next 6 games we play against the Cubs and the goddamn Diamondbacks. What the fuck?
Now, we usually beat the Diamondbacks early in the season. It's usually late in the season where
we just shit the bed against them for
we
some odd reason.
But the Cubs, I hope to God,
dude, we have to kick their ass. Sorry, Gooley.
Dude, they swept us last year, and it was like we thought the season was done.
It really was, and just like it was very frustrating, to say the least. If but then again, though, like especially with that extra, though we had to very far. We had especially looked at last year. If you're not a Phillies fan, we had to scratch and claw our way to secure that last wild card spot, and that was not easy, especially just how bad the Brewers have been. And it's like, oh gosh, when is this going to end? It was just like a roller coaster. And then we're away.
We were losing out. We were literally losing out until that final series.
and it's just like,
And it was
bleh.
like down to a game because Brewers kept losing. We were losing too, but they were losing, so we were
We needed the
diminishing
Marlins to
game.
beat them.
We were losing, and then it came down to a game. Then we played the Astros. We beat them that one time,
And
and we were
finally,
left.
we fucking did it. After 11 years of not seeing the goddamn postseason, we finally ended the damn drought. But then again, we can also laugh at the Angels now. Now they own the longest postseason drought in baseball, so we can
Yeah,
laugh at
but
them.
that could very well end this year. That could definitely
Yeah,
end this year.
it'd be a
With
possibility, but knowing
the moves they made, that could definitely end this year.
we'll see. And another team that could pose a threat to them is probably the Texas Rangers, and they made some pretty significant moves as well to try to get better in that AL West.
Mhm.
But that's because right now that I know that pretty much the top two teams in that division is definitely the Astros and the Seattle Mariners, but it's going to be a battle up for who's going to for the third place, definitely for sure in that division. But that's here nor there. But the next 4 games that we are in Atlanta, which we have somehow had actually fairly success in playing against the Braves in Atlanta. Now, early, sometimes late in the season, yes, we we ran into a bit of a roadblock, and it's funny. Going like what I said, I think at the last show that we done, I even said it on record, like we might lose in 5 games to the Braves. Hell no!
We both said that.
I was like, what? That's like,
We won in
damn.
5 games instead of lost in 5. I'm like, what the heck just happened?
Exactly. Like it's just like, and Tyler. No, you said Tyler. We want to get swept out of the wild card. No, we swept the Cardinals in the wild card. It's like
Everything that we said was going to happen, the polar opposite happens.
It really was. It's like, what the hell is going on? And so,
and then we were thinking, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I think the Padres are a tough team.
And they
beat them
were.
in 5.
I'll give them that, but Juan Suarez did not hang that hanging slider. I mean, probably the best moment I've seen in Phillies postseason. Well, second best moment. The best moment was Joe Blanton hit that go-ahead home run in 2008. That set that crowd into a frenzy against Tampa Bay. So, it's also sent to the fact that you also have Rob Thompson try to keep these guys cool and calm under pressure, and I think that's something I think most teams would have wanted Rob Thompson. And
yeah, I think the problem with them last year in the World Series is that they kind of got panicky when they were up 2-1.
Yeah,
they kind of got panicky. Oh my God, we're 2 wins away. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they also got complacent.
Yeah, and something, especially in baseball, you do not get complacent. But then again, ask the Mets that because
they win 101 games, only get swept.
Not just getting swept, but they choked the division away for most of the being up for most of the year, and you decide to shit the bed at the worst possible time, and you get swept by the Braves, and now they own the tiebreaker over you. And oh, good Lord, that was just an ugly sight. But that's the we do. I think what's that? 2 games against the Mets. We do have 3 games actually that enters going into the month of June. So we have 3-game series against the Mets. Now, hopefully we can actually know how to beat the Mets because that's the one team that's now kind of has our number a little bit. Then we do have a 3-game set against the Nationals and Washington D.C. Easy sweep because they're just absolutely terrible. Then we're home for 6 with an off day on the 8th. 3 against the Tigers, 3 against the Dodgers. Dodgers. God, I'm really thinking to myself, like, what the hell's going on with the Dodgers as of recently? You already lost Justin Turner. You already lost Trey Turner to us. Now, that's going to be funny. See how the Dodger crowd's going to react to Trey Turner coming back to Los Angeles in Phillies pinstripes. I probably wouldn't care, but the fact that you actually know how to beat the Dodgers. Then after that, we're back on the road for 4 against the Diamondbacks. And 3 against the A's. Oh, good Lord. You play well. And this is the month of June alone.
Yeah.
Then if everything goes well, if you don't panic and not shit the bed against the Diamondbacks, definitely you could sweep the 7-game set because, the A's are bad. That is true, Arco. Yeah, that's another story for another day, basically. But After that, we're on the road on June 19th, and then we're home again for 6. 3 against the Braves and 3 against the Mets. After that, we do have our next off day on the 26th. Then we're on the road to Chicago. Get to the Cubs for 3, and I think we do have, we're home against the Nationals for 3, and that enters in the month of July. Then July 3rd we have an off day. From the 4th to the 6th, we're home or away in Tampa Bay for 3. Then we play a 3-game set against the Marlins, so we're pretty much going to be in Florida for 6 games. And we get to the All-Star game on the 11th, which I think Harper should be coming back by the time by that time frame. Then we have a 4-game, technically 4-game set one on the 14th, but we have a doubleheader against the Padres and our last game against the Padres at home. And then off day on the 17th. Then we play for 3 against the Brewers. Then we're away in Cleveland. They play the Guardians. Now that's a team. Now that's going to be very interesting of how these two teams are going to match up, because we never played the.
We're probably going to have a tough time.
Especially how scrappy they are, for sure. And then after that, we come home against the Orioles for 3. I think we should handle them with no problems. Well, Kyle Gibson's one of them. Don't be surprised of him throwing meatballs. So we'll see that going on. But have an off day on the 27th. But have a 3-game set against the Pirates. Why the Pirates? Why do you have to put us a team that? I don't know. It's just completely garbage, but that's besides the point. And then, what's good, Ralphie? Then we have a 4-game set against the Marlins. Sure, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have a 10-game homestand. 3 against the Royals, 4 against the Nats, 3 against the Twins. Then we're not back. Then we get an off day on the 14th. Then we're back on the road to Toronto for 2 against the Blue Jays. Then another off day the following day on the 17th. Away in Washington. Actually, game 3 though of the series will be in Williamsport, so we do get the Little League Classic, because at this point of the year you got the Little League World Series, was also going on as well. Then we're home for 6 with the off day on the 24th. 3 against the Giants, 3 against the Cardinals. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see the Cardinals team with. Oh boy, that's actually, I'm sorry, we're home for a 9-game homestand, and the next 3 we're home against the Angels. So that's gonna be interesting. But that's just for the month of August. September, we're away in Milwaukee for 3, taking a 6-game road trip. 3 against the Padres, 3 against the Brewers, off day. Then we're home for 6 with an off day on the 11th. 3 against the Marlins, 3 against the Braves. And then we're back on the road to St. Louis. 3 against the Cardinals, 3 against the Braves. Yeah, we're pretty much having multiple games against teams that we've never seen before. Well, we have seen, but we'll be home for 4 against the Mets, off day the 25th, 3 against the Pirates. And then we're back on the road to the Queens, New York, and end off against the Mets. So we end the Mets off on a 3-game set. So that's pretty much our schedule for 2023.
Yeah, we'll probably have a winning record by the end of it, and we'll make the playoffs.
I've seen projections where people think we might at least win at least 100 games. If everything goes right, I can see between 90 and 100 wins. I think probably 95, if you're going to be completely realistic of how everything is going.
I think 96, maybe.
95, 96 in that range. But somehow we can say hypothetically pull a 100-win season out. Still, that's 2 good seasons out of Rob Thompson. The fact that one was put, let's put it this comparison for those who have not really know what we're talking about. Look at last year. We were like, oh God, what were we? We were 22 and 29 at one point. And the fact once we made that management change to Thompson, we almost pulled out a 90-win season just with a blink of an eye, just like that. And me and Tyler looked at ourselves like, what the hell just happened? It's just like the fact that I think we talked about this last episode, that, it was impressive, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But next thing I want to kind of talk about, where does the Phillies? Where do you rank the Phillies bullpen going into 2023? Because for me, I think they could be a top 5 bullpen if everything goes well.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking that too.
Especially look at the arms that we, like I said, Bellotti does have his moments where he does some, not just in the postseason, but he does have those moments where he does shit the bed in the regular season. So, but I do think we have the coach who can fix that for sure. You have some guys that I mean, especially with the additions we have, I think we could definitely be we could be a really, really good bullpen among the best. But another question I do pose: can the Phils be a threat to take the NL East? I think we can. I really do think we can. Even without Harper for most of the year, we always find a way to, play when he's not there, which is, I know as crazy as it sounds, we've seen this one trick pony one too many. I think two last more than
We
a couple.
saw it 2020, we saw it 2021, and we saw it last year.
And it's just like, oh fuck.
2020 we put like crap without Harper.
Oh yeah.
2021 we put like crap without Harper. 2022 we're thinking, oh no, here we go
again.
We played better without Harper than we did with Harper, honestly.
And Harper, I mean, and then after that, Harper went off a crazy tear in the postseason. So, but that's just how I see it. But the last and final thing, because like I said, obviously we've actually been doing pretty well for the last almost 50 minutes. So I want to get your expectations for 2023 for the Fighting Phils, and see how this team really, can finally match up with some teams that what you're looking forward to for 2023. Even though, unfortunately, for Tyler, he can't expect that.
I would say 96 wins for the team. Another World Series appearance. And we're taking it all.
I really hope so, because, I mean, it's been way too goddamn long for a World Series title. It's been 14 long goddamn years. But
last time they won, I was 10.
Yep. I was 11. So put that into perspective. How it's been long since we were in the early teens. So I'll leave it at that. But with that being said, it's kind of fun, getting 17 episodes of this show. Like I said, there's going to be plenty more episodes to come, not just from the news perspective, but we'll do like more posts and stuff like that. We'll add more into it. Like I said, we enjoy doing this show as well. We're going to see a lot more baseball content coming out too, especially with spring football as well coming up as well. Like I say, you're not going to really be missing out. But with that being said, this is going to conclude episode 17 of the Phillies Talk Podcast with your hosts, myself, Robert, and Tyler from the Phillies Sports Talk Podcast, and we are out.
Peace.